Hey everybody, we're going to do a question and answer session for season 1 of Battlestar Galactica. David has sent me screenshots of things so I can show you them on the screen, or maybe I'll just put them over here on the screen. This is how we usually do them when I don't want to be spoiled for things. So I'm going to go through them and answer some questions. Taro Apache. Hunter, if you see this, you should stay out of the comments. This show is on par with the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones and Rome. I love this show. It made be my favorite show of all time. I'm definitely loving the show so far. Just like I said, we are handling this like Game of Thrones. I realized like around episode 3-ish that people like to talk, and even like just like with Game of Thrones, I like to talk, and that could potentially be bad because some people just, if I ask a question out loud just so you know what I'm thinking, people think I'm actually asking that question for you to fucking answer it. And then they answer it and I'm like, no, I was just thinking out loud so you know what I'm thinking. This is a reaction channel, so people like to answer questions. So we're going to do this like Game of Thrones, where David is going to go over the comments. He'll send me screenshots. If I have a response, he will type it up and send it to you. Or if he's at home and he's on the computer, he can like go to that question. I can type my response and then duck out. Next, Motel on Mars. Hey, no, he's not. No, he's not dead. Ned Stark makes you doubt everything now, doesn't he? It's not just Ned Stark. It's Ned Stark's death, the Red Wedding, and for some reason, like episode 10 of season 6, like the Winds of Winter, where all the kids are stabbing the maester or whatever. Just wow. Like Game of Thrones has made it so, like, number one, I'm desensitized to a lot of violence on TV now, or I'm just like, whatever, that's nothing. And I'm just like, I can't believe they did this. If I had seen this before Game of Thrones, I'd probably be like, what are they doing? What are they doing? George Ristov. What is the Cylons' plan? Why are they mimicking human emotions? What God have to do with all of this? Like, why the machines have concept of God in the first place? I think since they have given the Cylons emotions, like human emotions, and they're very interested in how humans behave, it would make sense for them to give them God. You know what I mean? Because that gives a lot of humans purpose to believe in a higher power. And you know, when you start debating the meaning of life and why are we here and how did we get here and all of that, you have to think outside of yourself, and that maybe there is something else controlling, you know, fate, destiny, our lives, our body, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it would make sense for them to have that God, not God complex, but to have that sense of a higher being if they are mimicking human emotions, because what, like 95% of the planet believes in some kind of deity, either single or multiple, so that would make sense. And what are the Cylons' plan? Well, now I'm thinking just to make babies, because with what's her face? Oh, 6, like you guys call her 6, so I guess she's like 6 now. I don't know, maybe I missed that. 6 showing Gaius the like baby cradle or whatever, like, so their plan is to have babies, and then Sharon being knocked up. I wonder if she's actually going to have the baby. I'm kind of debating that, because we'll get to that in a minute. Is Tom Zarek misunderstood? Probably. Most people are. But it's not the fact that he's misunderstood or what his cause is or what he's doing. It's how he's going about doing it. That's the problem. You don't blow up a building. You know, like Timothy McVeigh. You don't blow up a building to get your point across. Like, no, that's terrorism. That is terrorism. You don't kill innocent people to get your point across, you know? So no matter, at this point, no matter if he's right in his cause or wrong in his cause, the fact that he's willing to go to those extremes for that cause is problematic. It's like people who are willing to die and kill for their God. I understand that's your faith, that's your religion, whatever, but when your faith or religion tells you to kill other people, that doesn't make sense to me. So it doesn't matter what the cause is that he has. At this point, he's a terrorist. It sucks because, like I said in like one of the episodes, I'm like, I want to trust him. I want to want what he wants, But the fact that he's willing to go to those extremes for that ain't cool, dude. Gaius Baltar's plan, don't get killed, don't get caught, and getting laid. That's a good plan. I mean, I need that on a shirt. Several of who is this? Havoc 6280. Hey. Several ways the Cylons could know Kara. Leoben knows her. Loben, whatever. I can't ever say it. Sharon knows her, and Baltar knows her, which means 6 knows her, true. But that would mean that he definitely has a chip then, right? Because Baltar didn't meet her until after he got onto the ship. He didn't know her back on Caprica. So if he met her on the ship and 6 knows her, then that means that he would have a chip or some way of communicating with her. Right? Thank you. You're almost as shook, I hate that word, as when you figured out R plus L equals J. I was, dude, I'm still like, he's not dead. Pat Logic, are Gaius and number 6 the best TV couple ever? No. Buffy and Angel are. Okay? Or Buffy and Spike. Buffy and anybody. No, not Riley. No. Okay? They're not. Steve Costa, what do you think of the religious overtones of the show? Favorite episode so far? How awesome is Gaius Baltar? The show gets even better now. I love the religious overtones. Like, very rarely do you see shows do that, especially on like network TV. Was this on, I don't know what station it was on. I'm assuming it was like Sci-Fi or something, which would make sense. They kind of have a little bit more leeway in what they do than like ABC, NBC, all those kind of stations. So I'm surprised they're in there, but I'm very glad they are. Favorite episode so far, I think, is still episode 3, where they had the coup with Tom Zarek. I think. There's so many good episodes this season. Like, honestly, this season, like, this was a solid first season. There were so many good episodes, so many good, they had moments where you got to know the character, but without it being like dragged out, whatever. It didn't take too long. There were conflicts. I think I liked that episode because I got to see Apollo and the president getting closer, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna side with her at some point, and he did in the last episode. But like, you could just tell by the 3rd episode of a season or a show period, you can usually tell how it's gonna go. Very rarely after that does it start to pick up more. I feel like they're kind of getting their feet in the first season. How awesome is Gaius Baltar? He's so weird. I love him. Robin, who is your least favorite character at the moment? Sharon. I don't like her. She's, you know what's funny? Okay. She's showing the most human traits out of the Cylons we've seen so far, right? Like, she's being the most human. Like, she had that moment where she was in the ship where she didn't want to tell Crash that they found water. Like, she was, you know, her programmer was saying not to tell him, but she kind of overrode that and did. Sharon on Caprica is knocked up with the baby, and she went against orders, and she's protecting him. And 6 said that she was the weakest model, probably because she can override. I don't know, maybe that would make her the strongest model. She can override her programming to do what she wants. Maybe they're not happy about that because that would make her the strongest model if she can override that programming, right? But at the same time, she's showing all those humans' emotions to them and not being kind of like a true Cylon, I guess, and that's making her weaker in their eyes. That being said, I don't like her. I just don't. I don't know. Yeah, she's definitely my least favorite character. I was going to mention this earlier when I paused for a second when I mentioned her. I'm almost wondering if she would even be able to carry the baby to term because she is the quote-unquote weakest Cylon model or whatever, or if that would make her more likely to, because she is able to carry a human child because she is behaving in a more human way. I don't know. Her model is problematic, and I don't understand why they let it continue. That would lead me to believe that she's one of the first models before they worked out all those kinks. Anyway, Brian L. When I first watched, my main thought at this point is, how rigid is the Cylon's programming really? Caprica Sharon was exercising free will when she defied orders to save Halo. Boomer has been going through this internal struggle all season. She almost didn't say anything when she found, like, I legit just said this. And then she didn't detonate the bomb that was on the Raptor. She couldn't kill herself in the previous episode. Are all these things a struggle between her programming and free will? Absolutely. It's called the Sharon model weak. Is this what she was referring to? Absolutely. Everything you just said. And I'm wondering if she was one of the earlier models because they hadn't worked all that stuff out. Because I don't see 6 going through that internal monologue and struggle to, like, 6 is, she's like, I'm Cylon. Okay? Even when the other 6 came on board, Galactica, kind of to give them other things, a way to clear Gaius' name, I guess, whatever. Even when she was in, like, human form, she was resolute. You know what I mean? Not human form, you know what I mean. Pretending to be human, she was resolute. Like, she was very strong in her duties, you know. Sharon is just weak. And I know maybe that's supposed to make her more endearing because she is acting more human. So we should be like, oh, she's struggling with that. She really is more human and all that other stuff. But to me, I'm just like, girl, if you had to choose, pick a side like Lee did, who would you choose? When I watched this live the first time, there was a whole summer of raging debates about who was right, Adama or Rosalind. Good stuff. Oh, that was Sea Stark Lady. Oh, man. Here's the thing. Okay, not to talk ill of the dead. He ain't dead, though. He ain't fucking dead. Before they killed Adama, we were about to have a very long discussion about him at the end of that episode. And then they killed him and it distracted me. I was feeling some kind of way about that whole thing. I understand he disagreed with her position, what she wanted to do. However, she is still the damn president. And you have to respect that. I'm fighting some words I want to use right now. You probably know what what I want to say, but I'm not gonna. But how dare he do that? And I say that because they have a government. She is the president. There are leaders of all these other heads of state or whatever. So there's obviously a due process to get her out of office. If she is making calls kind of repetitively that he doesn't approve of, then there's a system in place, I'm sure, for checking the president. Those other heads of states need to be aware of this. They need to discuss it, and they need to vote her out and do whatever their government says to be done. But for him to arbitrarily just be like, he doesn't approve of what she's doing, he doesn't think he's right because it was supposed to be a military operation and blah, blah, blah. So he's just going to throw her in jail. Motherfucker, what? That's not how this works. No matter how much you don't approve of what your leader is doing, there is still a due process that has to happen. And it really pissed me off that Adama decided, oh, she went against what the plan was, what my plan was, what I thought was best, so I'm just going to put her in jail and take over. You know what? Like, no. Not to mention there's a vice president. So what happens then? Like, if he didn't get shot, so what happens then? Are you saying that you're in charge and that the government that we've established so far, we just had a symposium or forum or whatever the hell, a meeting of the heads of the colonies or whatever. Are you saying fuck all that and I'm going to be in charge now because you don't approve of what she's doing? We were so about to have a talk, but then they shot him. So granted, I I was a little like, can we talk about this a little bit more? Can we maybe plan this after we take out this big ship of Cylons? You know, like, let's do that mission first, and then we'll go get the arrow. Like, let's figure this out together. So I didn't quite necessarily I didn't like the way she went behind his back and like had Starbuck go off on her own to do that. She should have had backup with her, I feel. But you can't just take over and be like, okay, no, I'm done with you. I felt like he wanted to do that the whole time anyway, because he kept calling her a school teacher anytime he disagreed with her. Anytime any of them did, they just called her a school teacher. It pissed me off. And then if you don't like what she's doing, then we have a process to get that person out. Of the 4 Cylon models we know of, have you noticed any patterns or similarities in each model's personality or mindset? How would you describe each model? What sort of person is each one? From Joe Blow. Have you noticed any patterns or similarities in each model's personality? I would say 6 and the other two, other than Sharon, just like she said, Sharon's just weak. Like, her model is just weak, and I don't know why they allowed it to stay around, because that's going to be problematic. We love you, Sharon. I'm so weird and creepy. I just feel like they all, like, even the guy they had to kick off the ship because they found out he was a Cylon, even though he was begging, like, I'm not a Cylon, I'm not a Cylon, like, that's part of the game. But I don't know, I'm just not liking Sharon's model, like, at all. They're all strong and kind of just like set in their Cylonness. Does that make sense? 5 characters you would guess would be for Cylons. Listen, they're all Cylons, all of them. I don't care what any of you say, they're all Cylons. Gaius doesn't know what he's doing. You know why? Because he's a Cylon too. They're all Cylons. And they're coming here to Earth, take over. They're here already. I'm convinced of it. You're probably part Cylon too. Alright, that's it. I will see you on Wednesday for season 2, episode 1. I'm excited to start the next. He's not dead. Seriously? So, okay, let's say this first. If he is dead, Colonel Pi takes over. Oh, there was another question I was going to go back to. Yes, I say Pi. I know his name is Ty, but in the first episode or 2, I kept hearing pie instead of Ty, and then I started picturing him eating warm apple pie and going, that's some good pie. So now whenever I see him, I think of him eating apple pie. So his name is just going to be Pi for me for probably from now on, but for just for a little while. Just like with Game of Thrones, Varys, I called him Vaseline for the first 4 seasons because I couldn't remember his name. So his name is Pi. So that would make Pi, Colonel Pi, like, he's second in charge, right? They have to get the president out of jail now. They have to. Because they can't throw her in jail and then Adama's dead. Are the 2 leaders everyone looked up to, they have to, like, release him and be like, oops, my bad. Because the morale of the ship would just go down the fucking gutter. Right? There's no way. And Apollo's not gonna let her stay in fucking jail anyway. He should be in charge. Can we have him in charge? Yeah, let's let the president put him in charge, and Pi will be pissed off. Okay, like I was saying, I will see you Wednesday for season 2, episode 1. And that's it. Have a great week, you guys.